Yeah, so with that, Tennessee, fantastic game. Obviously, we didn't talk enough about them, but they go to 5-2.
Why would we talk about them?
Because
they played the 31st ranked defense in the NFL. They better have won this game, even though I'll explain my first and 5 picks. Mm-hmm. But they should have won this game. This is against the worst defense.
I know.
Who can't run or pass defend. Mm-hmm. But the good thing I'll give to Tennessee is their defense did come out and show out.
They did. They took care of business, and now they moved to 5-2, which is tied. There is if I'm not correct, a four-way tie. You have 5 teams at 5-2, one at 4-2 coming off a bye. You have the Cincinnati Bengals, who just destroyed the Ravens. They're at 5-2. Vegas Raiders at 5-2. Tennessee, as I mentioned, 5-2. Buffalo, same, as well as Baltimore. And then you have the Chargers at 4-2. And on the flip side of that, Jay, in the NFC, outside of undefeated Arizona, you have 4 teams with 1 loss. You have the Rams, you have the Bucks, you have the Cowboys, and the Packers. So with all this, how loaded it is at the top in each conference, it's difficult to tell at this point through 7 weeks, or almost through 7 weeks, just who is the best team in each conference. So right now, with what you've seen these last 7 weeks, Jay, starting with the AFC, amongst those teams that I mentioned, who do you believe right now is the team you trust the most to be the best team in the AFC?
So I'm going to get a lot of flake on this
okay.
take. And I'm only thinking this because, yeah, y'all going to hate me for this. Best team in the AFC? I think it's the Buffalo Bills. This is why.
Okay.
I just think that their defense is the best out of everybody in the conference. DVOA wise, I think they were the top defense coming into the season. Coming into the week. And even that opening season loss to the Steelers and then that loss to the Titans, Josh Allen, if you take those out, Josh Allen's had a really good season. Now, granted, I'm looking at the schedule and they haven't played anybody this year, but I think top to bottom, they are the best in the AFC. I think right behind them, I would give it to Baltimore and then probably Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Even though Cincinnati just beat Baltimore, I think that long-term Baltimore will fare better than Cincinnati. But I do like what I saw at Cincinnati in that game. I just still think that Buffalo was the best team in the AFC. And, y'all know how much I bash on Josh Allen. Whenever he's on. His bad games, he's atrocious. And he's a show, though. He's a fun show to watch because it's always a great experience in seeing everything he does to mess things up. So I'm going to go with Buffalo right now because they haven't really faced a team that has really pushed them. I think they should, besides the Titans and the Bills. And
you could say the Steelers game was a bad loss, but they haven't been blown out by anybody.
No.
Both of the losses were fairly close.
And that Titans loss shouldn't have happened. And I'll give it to the Titans. They grinded it out with Derrick Henry, who was a monster in that game. Yeah.
For me, I would say, because I approached this as, all right, which quarterback defense combination do I trust the most in a crucial moment? Even if they played a bad game, who do I trust to find a way to get that stop? And so therefore I chose Baltimore.
Okay.
Baltimore, because I feel like Lamar Jackson has put himself in a position. Now, I don't know what happened yesterday, but he's put himself in a position to really start to move towards his peak in such a way that he shuts up all the doubters in terms of his ability to throw the ball. We know about his just tremendous otherworldly running ability. We know about that. But to see him progress this season as he has as a passer, I think that he still has further levels he can reach within this season. And that defense, I thought this defense, again, I don't know what happened yesterday, so don't hold that against me against Cincinnati, but I thought this defense was finished when they lost Marcus Peters, and they have found a way. Other guys have stepped up, and they have found a way to you can't really replace Marcus Peters, but they found a way to still be a good defense, a really good defense at times in spots that complements Lamar Jackson within certain scenarios of the game. So I would say going into the playoffs, if it started today, I would trust Lamar and that Baltimore defense, and as well. And I love them getting Rashad Bateman back. I think he's going to be a really good receiver.
Big deal.
I would say right now, Baltimore is the team I would trust the most to be the best team in the AFC.
I can't argue against you on that because I was in between Baltimore. Like I said, even with the loss, in between Baltimore, because I believe that because that spread was 6.5. If This was the perfect letdown situation for Baltimore, though. That was my big thing. I felt like this was the perfect moment for Cincinnati to take advantage of it. That big game against the Chargers. Baltimore still dealing with injuries, but that big game against the Chargers and beating them up at the house. And then when you get to this type of game, I was like, yeah, Cincinnati has it. Cincinnati has. I feel like they have they have the opportunity to show out, and that makes sense for them to do that. NFC.
So one loss NFC teams outside of the Cardinals, or including the Cardinals.
Yeah, you got to include the
you have
Cardinals.
the Rams, the Bucks, the Cowboys, and the Packers. Who would you trust to be the best team in the NFC through 7 weeks?
I'm not gonna bet against Tom Brady ever again because I've done that before, and guess what? Every time I do it, I get burnt. Every time I bet against him, I get burnt. And usually when I bet for him, I get burnt too. But no, to be honest, I think that Tampa Bay is still the best team in the NFC, even though they've lost one game. They did play against a Rams team who was on the rise. They're 6-1 this year, and they've lost one game that what makes sense to lose to. They lost to the Cardinals, who are undefeated. I still need more from Arizona. I don't get excited about teams that start the season off undefeated and think that they're going to win anything, because we've seen a team go undefeated the entire season and lose in the Super Bowl. We've seen this a few times. The Patriots, they went undefeated.
We've seen teams, go undefeated through most of the season and barely make it can't even make it through the first round. The Steelers last year were 11-0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we knew they were a fraud. Everybody knew they were a fraud. I'm not saying the Cardinals are a fraud.
Now, the Cardinals, I do not believe that they're a fraud.
They're not.
I think that they've been building up everything that they are today.
Yeah.
But I cannot put all of my eggs in the Arizona Cardinals basket yet. With Kyler looking like he's a little hurt, he's a little banged up. They lose him, they're done. The entire thing's done. But the good thing for them is they got so many weapons around him that if they do lose one of those, they can still function properly, especially with him out there. So I'll give the Cardinals the second best team, followed by the Rams, but I still think that Tampa Bay is the best. Just because, even with all the injuries in the secondary, it's hard to bet against Tom Brady and them. It is. And like you said, who do I trust?
Yeah.
That's where my trust goes.
It's easy. It is Tampa. I mean, the best combination of run defense plus their ability to run the ball. They run the ball better than the Cardinals and the Rams. And when it comes down to playoff football, when you're talking about January, you got to be able to run the ball. And that's exactly what this team can do. And what I love about Tampa, again, GOAT notwithstanding, they've been doing this quietly because all the attention has been going to the Cowboys. All the attention has been going to the 7-0 Cards. All the attention has been going to these teams that are constantly knocking each other off in the AFC. And here goes Tampa, just destroying, just winning games along the way quietly. I believe Tom Brady tops in passing yards, just doing it quietly. As funny as that is, off of a Super Bowl victory, they're the most, I won't say they're slept on, but no one's talking about them.
Not as much. And it's mainly because of all of the injuries that they're dealing with in the secondary. So the team looks bad. Richard Sherman's gone for a few weeks, and they just got him. They needed him so bad that he played within like 3 days of getting signed. Right. We're desperate as a team. And of course, y'all know I'm a Bucs fan. We're desperate, but with Tom, anytime I ever bet against Tom Brady with the Patriots, hell, I bet against my Bucs last year. I told y'all I didn't think they were going to do it. They went 11-5. And won the Super Bowl.
I tried to tell you.
He tried to tell me about my own team, and I am a cautious optimist about that stuff. And that was the one thing I can say is I think that this year we got that. So